What's up guys, EPICJONTUAZON here, and today we're going to do a little maintenance on the Husqvarna lawn tractor. Mainly because I got it used and I don't believe it's ever had an oil change before. It's only got 50 hours on it. So today we're going to go through and diagnose how to change the oil and actually go through changing the oil. I've never owned one of these before, so it's going to be an interesting process. Hope you come along with me and enjoy the ride. Alright, so a couple of things that you're going to need when you do your oil change is one of these tubes that is going to attach to the oil drain plug to help funnel out the oil. And this is where most of your oil is going to go through. And you're also going to need an oil filter. Now the manual recommends changing it once a year or once every 2 oil changes, but I'm going to do it every oil change. And the part number is 492932S, but you don't have to write that down. I'll leave it in the description below if you guys want to check that out or purchase one off of Amazon. So real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it up, get the oil a little bit warm, just so it's easier to drain, and it'll take a little bit less time. Alright, so now with your engine warm, you go ahead and pop the hood. And on the right side of the mower, you'll notice this yellow cap. This is where you're going to be filling your oil. And underneath that, there's a drain plug. And I'll pull you in closer so you can take a look at that. That's right over here. This little yellow thing is your oil drain. So we're going to have to remove this little piece to access that and plug the hose in. Alright, now over here, there's this little clip that's being held to the frame, and that holds this little plastic piece in. It's kind of like your clips that you have on your cars, but you'll have to stick a flathead, which is what I'm trying to do in here, and pry it out. Now there's a housing on the back that's attached to the frame, so just be careful not to crack it. Wedging it out slowly, little by little, going around. And there you go. And now once you have that removed, this should literally like slide up and pop out. So you'll notice there's these 2 tabs that get held here into the frame, and it's really just a tension fit. So once you slide it back in, you pop it down, and by tension it holds this in place. So when reinstalling, we're just going to slide that back in and put this pin right back into the frame. Okay, so now that you have the drain plug exposed and the fill tube exposed, you're going to want to do the same exact thing on the other side to expose the oil filter. On this side, it actually worked a lot easier when I did a little of prying on the front side, and then you use your hand underneath the frame and push the back to give it a little bit of force. It popped out so much easier than the other side, so I recommend that technique. And so that exposes the oil filter, which is right back here, this little black canister. This right here is your fuel filter, and you'll have to replace that as you see fit. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't read on the manual how long this lasts, but I'm going to end up changing the oil filter every time I change the oil, or once per year. Okay, so you may be running into an issue that I'm running into currently, where I can't fit my drain pan underneath the tractor just because the frame is too low, or my drain pan, I guess, is too high or too tall. But what I'm going to try and do is take these old takeout bowls and drain it from here, and then try and dump it into my drain pan as I'm draining the oil. All right, so we're gonna take out our tube, which really is just 1/2-inch vinyl tubing. We're gonna move this, looks like an electrical wire, out the way. And there's a little cap here on the drain plug that we're gonna pop off and put on this tube. Okay, so now that you have that cap out of the way, we're going to thread on this tube, and you want to make sure this is on there, otherwise you're going to get a leak of oil everywhere. We're going to get our bowls ready, and essentially what you're going to do is you're going to turn the yellow drain plug counterclockwise, about 1/8 of a turn, and that will allow you to pull out to release the oil. And then you're just going to take this tube and point it to wherever you're draining. And if you're nifty enough, you can actually use that siding to kind of wedge the tube in place so you don't have to hold it. So I've been letting this drain for a couple minutes now. Now it's come to a slow drip. When you're ready, at this point, you can push the drain plug back in to stop it from draining. And then you can remove this tube. Make sure you turn that back 1/8 of a turn so it locks in. And be careful about this tube because you don't want oil to just splat back in your face. And then don't forget to put the cap back on. Okay, so then we're gonna take this to the other side and I'm gonna show you what I did to kind of reduce the mess. All right, so now we are on the left side of the mower where the oil filter is. And what I did was I took this old takeout container, cut the top off, and I drilled a hole through the bottom. This is gonna act as like my makeshift funnel to catch any of the oil that drips out of the oil filter housing, because once you remove this oil filter, there's fluid in here, which is going to drip out and drain eventually. So if you do not have a mechanism that catches it or a rag that's there, it's just going to get all over the base of the tractor. So whatever you got to do, this is my quick fix. Hopefully it works and we'll figure it out in a few minutes. And luckily it's not too bad because you should have drained most of the oil through the drain plug, but you're going to want to wipe up as much oil as you can because this oil is going to retain dirt, and the dirt retains moisture, and then moisture is going to lead to rust. So make sure you try and wipe up as much as you can. Next, you're going to want to take out your oil filter. Again, part number 492932S. This is a Briggs & Stratton OEM filter, same exact one that came on there. Take off this protective cover, and then what you're going to want to do, just like when you're changing your oil in your car, you're going to take some oil and wrap it around this gasket, because when you thread on the gasket, or thread on the filter rather, this gasket's going to cause friction, and you don't want that seal to kind of bend or warp. Using a little bit of the used oil is fine because it's just going to add as a lubricant to remove any of that friction. And this filter doesn't need to go on super tight, it's just got to be hand tight, which should be enough because you're not putting a lot of pressure through this. So go ahead and thread clockwise. Make sure it's threaded on there. If it's a little bit tight, don't force it on there because you don't want to cross thread this. So it should go on there super easy. And then once you make contact, you should feel a little bit of resistance. And all you need to do is turn it a little bit like that. I know everyone's strength is going to be a little bit different, but literally as long as you feel like it's on there, it should be fine. You don't have to go super crazy because then this is going to get hot, eventually hot and cold, and things are going to expand and contract. And the tighter you have it on there, the harder it is going to be when you get it off again. And now that you have your new filter on there and your drain plug is closed and sealed, you can go ahead and open up, remove the dipstick, and pour your new oil in. This motor takes 2 quarts, so when you put your dipstick back in, there is these 2 holes. Let's see if you can get closer here. So there are these 2 holes here, and you want the fluid level to be right in the middle. The top one closest to the top of the cap is full, and then if you're closer to the bottom, you're low about a pint. So you're going to want to add a little bit of oil, but you really want to be right in the middle. So you're going to want to put your funnel in, and the oil I'm using is just an Amazon Basics 10W30, because if you're up in the Northeast, you're going to want to use a heavier oil for the cold season, especially if I'm planning on taking this out in the winter, which I am, to snowplow or to just kind of snow drift or have fun in the snow. So you're gonna wanna fill this up with 2 quarts. And if you're not sure, you can always err on the side of caution and just throw your dipstick in. So there you have it, a quick and easy oil change to your Husqvarna lawn tractor. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Again, all the part numbers are in the description if you guys need those. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and stay tuned to the next video as we're gonna upgrade some lighting on this Husqvarna tractor. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.
On my feet, caught in the madness, I feel you somehow. Don't let me go, I need you right now. I wanna be next to you, you wanna be next to me.